Good evening, this is Your Vote 2017, a closer look at the 2017 national elections. I'm Neville Choi, here with you again, along with Titi Gabi. We opened our program last night with Terence Hetinu, the election manager for the National Capital District. He walked us through several changes made to the way polling is to be conducted, mainly to ensure that every eligible voter has the opportunity to cast their vote. It is, after all, their right. This election, many more voters are paying closer attention to what candidates are telling them. Many are clear about what they want to see in a leader, and they also have a clarity about what their needs are. Others are focusing on the personalities who are running for office and the reasons why they are contesting. We had our journalists here in Port Moresby, up in Mount Hagen, and over in Kokopo speak to members of the public on how they are working through their decisions on who to vote.
Honest leader, not trust leader.
Flawless no leader, or still man number, no corruption leader, yeah.
A leader that has a heart for the people and is transparency in the decision making.
Me like him leader, where him got the vision. He got good education. Now him can lead him people bless the country.
A leader that would have the people's best interest at heart.
Like him leader, he got vision and a dream. Or he can make him change him country, believe me.
So me like him on a good leader. Good leader can go into the parliament. Now some corruption come up long. Or some country now, he no can come up.
Me like him quality leaders. Or leader where only think in future belong all country now. Future belong beginning belong tomorrow ball run long end.
Leadership, it's all about serving the others and thinking of your people first, because you're a leader or you're an MP in the parliament because of these small people inside here. The other thing is, if someone can manage their family well, then they can manage the country well.
Someone who is three-dimensional, meaning that someone who is spiritually fit, someone who is physically fit in terms of physical, and someone who is has the credential.
Some people are going into politics for their own benefit while the people are suffering.
Because plenty of players man only go now, only not got good vision, now go into solo parliament, now make him good all work. People, if you want to vote, you have to see that don't run after the money or what the intending candidates are giving you right now. You must think of the future that is coming, because money that they give you is just for now, today and tomorrow it's gone.
There has been a strong focus on the type of qualities a leader should have. Civil society organizations like the Transparency International (PNG) have been pushing for voters to be aware of candidates' backgrounds and how they have conducted themselves before entering politics. The Ombudsman Commission of PNG has also been proactive in defining the qualities voters should be looking for in potential leaders. So that brings us to why more people are in tune to what candidates are saying this time around, Neville.
Yes, and as we've seen from the voters there is a new awareness of what people expect leaders to be. And I think we've seen a wide range of ages amongst the voters. And it's different these elections, because we've seen in past elections where everybody's been voting on personality lines. But this time around, there's more to being a leader than what's been seen in PNG politics, Titi.
Yeah, if you like, there's like an awakening amongst the Papua New Guinean voters on what they want in leaders. You can read every day on Facebook and on radio talkback shows and all that, how people are very clear on what they want, in their leaders, because everyone is also aware of what's happened, how we've been governed, if you like, for the past years still now. So it's very clear what people want, and it's very different from what it used to be like before. Say about 2012 was a little different. I think in 2012 the focus was more on getting women elected, but today it's all about, the catch cry is vote corruption out. So that in my opinion is what the focus is for these elections.
Okay, and I think in these elections social media is playing a new role. That's been opening up people's ideas and people's minds and people's awareness of what elections should be and how elections should be run and how leaders should be contesting.
What social media has also provided for Papua New Guinean voters is an avenue to speak in a public forum. Yes, we agree. Facebook can be very noisy, but we can't dismiss the fact that what's happening, interaction among people, and there are some MPs, current MPs, actively on Facebook, so the sharing of information and educating and awareness, if you like, is it's right there at your fingertips.
Okay.
So that's a really big plus for, especially for these elections.
All right. Well, with a more informed voting population, Papua New Guineans are now more critical about the policies that are being sold to them by candidates. Reporter Bethany Harriman has more.
To measure the views of eligible Papua New Guineans in the voting population, YourVote2017 spoke to voters in Mount Hagen and Kokopo. In Mount Hagen, there is a collective view to share wealth equitably. Papua New Guineans are generally family-orientated by culture, and they feel their resources must lift each other out of poverty.
People got gas, gold, copper, oil, resources pull up. That's all. People citizen blood like under people Papua New Guinea. People walk long big yet. Now people come a bigger than the country you meet. Where rich country people plant your pool and stuff because people got failure stuff long leadership of people of the nation.
Economic, finance, all leadership borrow too much now. Now no got money lo country me. So all public servant too, all no got money. Me are most all bank line walk long pay more or public servant.
Like other parts of Papua New Guinea, Mount Hagen students have access to information on social media. They can't be fooled easily.
What kind of leader you like him?
So, honest leader and trust leader. We all get change in country. We mean, Sabbath school beginning lo go through la tertiary institutions lo change in country we lo production plant human resource also for student na school beginning. Em start to and change lo mi lo parism lo.
With a more informed voting population, it makes it difficult for political candidates to say what they like. Even students, their parents and extended family members know what real policies look like. In Kokopo, people want policies that take their needs into account and nothing else.
I think we should be looking at a leader that would have the people's best interest at heart.
All people side of basic deliveries, basic services deliveries lo got we I mean up lo alim all land lo place around lo all rural areas especially. Now issue lo land through all people are must address him good online. You know all these leaders way. It depends also on party.
Well, Titi, we've seen there that voters, despite the hardships they're going through, they know what they want, and they know what they want, and they know what to expect from leaders who are planning to represent them for the next 5 years. And they're saying it because they need a voice to be heard.
Yes, that's right. Neville, I think really what people want, especially in the villages, all we need to do is just take a drive to the villages, our own villages or wherever we go to. People just want to be able to have access to clean drinking water, power supply, affordable schools and quality schools, because there has been, and everyone's aware of it, that there have been a lot of schools in villages that have closed down because for different reasons. Among them, the lack of teachers, and teachers they also have their own issues. So we have classic examples of these kind of things that I think people are really fed up with, and all they're asking for is better quality of life. And some of what they're asking for are also reflected in the MDGs, and it's very important that the government take note of this, because it's really people's rights, these kind of services.
Right. So we can see a lot more depth in how people analyze their situations. So we're hoping that with these elections there'll be a larger voice for quality leaders, and I think that's what the people want.
Yeah, all people want is people to just leaders to just serve. So that's basically what they're asking for. Just give us what we want, what's rightfully ours, and see how we go after polling and whatever happens after that.
Okay, well, we'll continue discussions after the break. You're watching Your Vote 2017. When we come back, we catch up with the Interdepartmental Electoral Committee, or IDEC, members who are currently touring the Highlands. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Your Vote 2017. In 2012, a whole-of-government approach in coordinating the 2012 elections saw the establishment of the Interdepartmental Electoral Committee, or IDEC. The IDEC comprises the senior management of the PNG Electoral Commission, representatives from key national departments, constitutional offices, and provincial administrations. The IDEC, currently operating under the chairmanship of Chief Secretary to Government Isaac Lupari, is on tour of the Highlands region to ensure all is ready for polling.
For us as electoral officials, our work is basically to go and provide electoral service. We set up the polling booth, we provide the facilities so people can go and vote. We provide ballot papers, people can go and vote there. But it's the supporters of candidates that sometimes intimidate others, and so when they do that, they create and cause violence at the polling stations. Those are the challenges that we have. But I'm hoping that, across the country, people can understand each other. Why I'm saying this is because we have this LPV system, the limited preferential voting system. So the value of 1 is equivalent to 2 and 3. So people should work with each other, political parties should work with each other, so that they can share those numbers, 1, 2, and 3. Electoral roll, well, let me first of all say that the 2017 roll is the update of 2012. So what that basically means is that we will still update from the 2012. So people who voted in the 2012 national elections, their names will be still there. The updating of the roll is for 2017. That's where we release additional claim for enrollment to enroll new people and people who have transferred. So those names are brought in. In fact, we calculated a 3% growth rate times 5 years. Okay, so a total of 15% increase. So we released about 850,000 papers across the country. We cannot go beyond that, because if we do that, then we will still have inflated roll. We still have names, some ghost names on the roll. Our roll is still inflated. I can say that. But with the support of Australian Electoral Commission, we were able to cleanse the roll beginning of 2015, and we were able to remove about 109 ghost names. But I'm still not satisfied. There are still ghost names there. There is a process of removing names. We cannot just go and identify a name and remove that. Normally, in the process, the returning officer will have to flag that, and then our people will delete it. The headquarters people cannot delete any name. It's always recommended by the returning officer. In the islands, I don't think there is inflation of roll. I'm satisfied with the process so far, because the forms that we released, as I said, it's about 850,000 across the country, and that was based on the base roll that they had. And so we spread that across, and our officials were able to go and do that roll. Yes, I think our police and defense, our security forces have done a good job during campaign period, and I'm expecting that to continue during polling and counting. In fact, in the islands provinces, I'm actually reporting from Mount Hagen. There is a heavy presence of police and defense force here, just basically manning the place and showing presence of the security forces. They are under instructions to provide support and security to the election and the electoral officials. So we hope that people can respect our security personnel and poll and count in a peaceful manner.
Well, we've got Petilius Gamato, the PNG Electoral Commissioner, there from Mount Hagen this morning. Now, Titi, he's mentioned a couple of things there. One, obviously, the acknowledgement that the electoral roll is inflated, but they are aware of that. And the other thing is the security that he's been touching on. So security is important, but there's also an obligation on voters to respect security operations in elections.
Yeah. Interesting how Mr. Gamato mentions the number of ghost names removed from the 2012 common roll. Is it 109 or was it meant to be 109,000? 109, it's a lot of work. Yep. Now, also going back to the common roll, the 2012 elections, the Commonwealth Observer Group were here and left in their recommendations, highlighted. One of the biggest highlights for the PNG government to look at was cleaning up the common roll. Now, Gamato's just mentioned that work started in 2015. So, and already on Facebook again, people are commenting on how many times the names are appearing and in how many electorates, and some just said, although they voted in 2012, the names are not on the common roll for 2017. So,
yeah. Well, I think we go back to the obligation of voters. I mean, it is your responsibility, it's your God-given right once you turn 18 to vote and to be an eligible voter. So it's your responsibility to follow up on where you should be voting and make it a point that your name is on the current electoral roll. Yeah. Okay. So Police Commissioner Gary Baki says police won't be diverting resources in Hela to track down illegal gun owners. He says police efforts will be focused on delivering a safe election and they will deal with instances of violence as they happen. There are roadblocks by police along the Highlands Highway as we speak.
Okay, we have deployed all our response unit to all the provinces around the Highlands, particularly up in the Highlands, and a couple of other coastal areas, coastal provinces. We also deployed our response personnel over there. Insofar as our preparations in going into the elections, I will always emphasize the fact that we're ready. We're ready to support the Electoral Commissioner to go inside. And my colleague, the Commander of Defence Force, has been, I have advised him to have people on reserve as well to stand by in the event that there is a major situation that we need to deal with it and there is a requirement to call in additional personnel to come on board. They will assist us in deploying those personnel. In terms of the polling, all the polling security personnel will be deployed by the end of this week to commence, and some of them will get ready for the commencement of the polling come 24th. And particularly up in the islands, they will commence up in Hela on the 26th. So the police in the Western End have a what is the rollover concept, where they will start off in Hela, come to Southern Islands and Enga, which I've observed and had a look at the preparations in terms of the rollover. I'm satisfied with what they are doing. I am very encouraged in what I've saw in Hela, despite that there is politics. Hela is politically. Highly political province. But given the meeting, the assurance that I've seen yesterday when we had a meeting with the provincial administrator and the electoral manager and all electoral officials, I am encouraged with the spirit that they have. I think they are very determined to get Hela into the elections, and of course with the support of the security personnel. So is Southern Islands, despite the fact that not many of the officials were over there, but we've spoken to the electoral manager over there. From what the brief is given us yesterday, he's also got his people all ready to go. In Enga today when we go, I'm sure the same readiness, pre-readiness will be displayed to us, and I'm satisfied with the way the consultation between police and the electoral officials on the ground, particularly up in the Highlands. We see, for us to divert resources to deal with those situations as it is at the moment will be a drawn down on us. So what we are doing is like, and that's the same issue that has been confronting us in Hela, where we have not moved into phase 2 of the guns surrender exercise, where we would be targeting individuals. But let me put it this way: we are very well informed of people that have, particularly in Hela, that have not surrendered those weapons. We know they are around. These are risks that every elections we face, and these are risks that we take on and we mitigate as we go into the elections process. So I think it will be comforting for me to say that we are aware of all those, and we are mindful, and we will deal with those situations as and when they come during the elections. I'm very happy with the conduct of Papua New Guineans, and to observe that quietness from the nominations to the polling, despite some minor incidents that happened, the incidents that happened that's been dealt by our men. The general overview in the entire country is the elections is quiet, and the preparations is quiet. So I would like to call upon every Papua New Guinean to take this and go into the polling, and let's get the elections out of the way.
So a very confident Police Commissioner Gary Bucky there, Titi. So he's pretty confident about the security operations up in the Highlands, and as we know from past experience, the Highlands is a pretty volatile area when it comes to elections.
Yeah, but the confidence is, it's good, it's comforting, is it? There was a situation in the Western Highlands province. Are we aware of whether that has been resolved?
Well, he's saying he won't be able to, they won't be deploying police personnel to look at these situations. And I think now with these elections, the authority for security is being covered by the provincial police commanders. So the buck stops with them, and I think they've been taking the reins pretty well so far, and he's confident of a quiet campaigning period so far. So can we expect that going through to polling?
Yeah, Hela, there has been a special exercise in Hela over the past few months for gun surrenders. So that's ongoing, it seems, according to Mr. Bucky, and we can only hope for the best there.
Okay. Well, guns will not be going away, that's for sure. And of course, misconceptions about the way the polls are progressing are also things that will be coming up again and again as we lead into polling. So you're with YourVote2017, a closer look at the elections. When we come back, we look at several allegations being raised by several party leaders about the integrity of the process that we are now underway. Welcome back. You're tuned in to YourVote2017, a closer look at the 2017 elections. Electoral Commissioner Petelius Gamato has brushed aside claims by caving MP Ben Micah that ballot papers have been tampered with. Speaking this morning from Mount Hagen, Mr. Gamato also urged Papua New Guineans not to spread what he describes as rumors on social media. Police Commissioner Bucky, meanwhile, has called Mr. Micah personally by phone, asking him to come forward with evidence.
Let me first of all say that this footage was posted on a Facebook, and it is claimed that a member for caving said some ballot papers were in the hands of candidates. I want to deny that report as Electoral Commissioner. We managed the ballot papers. On the 4th of April, 20-foot containers, 11 containers of 20-foot containing ballot papers arrived on the source of PNG. And on the same day, it was escorted to a secured place and guarded 24/7 by our security forces, both police and defense force. And so up to now, there's been no tampering. As far as I'm concerned, I visited the ballot containers and also visited officials who were supervising and working on distribution of the ballot papers, and there's been no incident of tampering of the ballot containers. So I want to deny that report. I also want to appeal to people who are making reports like that. These issues are very sensitive. As you know, ballot papers for the election are matters of national interest, and so people must be cautious about what they say in the social media, especially for members of parliament. I would like to appeal to a member for KB. If he's got evidence, he should take those evidence to the police and report it to the police. He should be responsible in what he says in the media.
Put it this way, I'm actually a bit disappointed in the sense that Mr. Micah have gone publicly in the media to speak about this. I have called a member personally myself yesterday afternoon when I was sent a copy of that video on WhatsApp to have a look at it. So I called him personally and I told him straight, if you have the evidence, I'm sending my team to come and collect those evidence from you, because it is in our interest that this election is not derailed. There's so many of these things have been floated around the social media, and it's not healthy for the elections and it's not healthy for Papua New Guinea. So we don't want to cloud the mindset of our Papua New Guineans that there is, there are so many ballot papers that are floating around and running around. If people have evidence of those, get them straight to the police. That's my call. So I've told, I spoke to the member yesterday evening, about 6:30. I spoke to him personally on that. I told him that I've got a team in headquarters that is ready now. And I've got an assistant commissioner of crime. I've directed him yesterday to stand by. And as soon as Ben Micah tells me where he is, I'll get the team to go around and pick him up, speak to him, and get the evidence that he's talking about.
Okay. So we have Commissioner Baki there, TT, and he seems that he would like to put an end to these allegations.
Yeah, there you have it. We've had it from the horse's mouth for asking for evidence to be taken in. He has a team ready to investigate. Rumors have been running and flying wild on Facebook, WhatsApp, and all the social media platforms about foul play, if you like. So this should be comforting. We wait to see over the next 24, 48 hours if someone does take in evidence for Mr. Gamato and Mr. Baki.
It begs the question why there's so much suspicion around the way the process is being conducted this election. What do you put that down to?
I think what it boils down to is the lack of information coming out from these two key organizations. You know, I mean, Facebook is real time. Facebook is Papua New Guineans talking about issues that they feel are of importance to them. And you know, so once rumors start circulating on social media, and where you have a long period of silence from whoever the allegation is aimed at, then people will start to think about whether there is some truth in it, or whether, you know, so information, it's just a lack of information just, you know, makes people start worrying about whether or not the rumors are true and all that. So at least they've come out now and asked for the evidence to be taken in, and they've also made the position very clear on this particular case especially.
Okay. All right, so we've looked at these allegations, and it's comforting to know that the police commissioner is trying to get to the bottom of this, and he said he's spoken to the Kaveng MP himself. So we hope that we see an end to this, and it'll put to rest all these misconceptions about the process. All right, you're watching Vote 2017, a closer look at the elections. When we come back, we wrap up our show. Stay tuned. You're with YourVote 2017. It's time to wrap up our show for tonight. As we continue our countdown to the end of the campaign period, we hope voters will be finalizing their thoughts of who they want to vote for.
And while many of us will be looking at the performances of our sitting MPs, there will be a good number who are considering change over continuity. Whatever your reason, it's best to remember that you as a voter have an obligation to be clear in your mind as to why you're voting for a particular candidate.
And while we have seen some change in the way people are approaching this election, there is more work to be done to ensure that threats like guns are finally eradicated from our elections. We hope you enjoyed our program tonight, and we look forward to your company again tomorrow evening. For YourVote 2017, I'm Neville Choi.
And I'm Titi Gabi. Good night.